now we're ready. We're finished with the detail. We've got our basic chair drawn. Now we have to start putting in the shadow. But the first thing we have to do is we have to get rid of all those old pencil lines. So let's erase all the pencil lines that we don't need. These are ones that you can still see the box there. If you've used pen or ink or anything like a dry erase marker, you can probably erase right over top of them. If you've used colored pencil or something, be careful not to smudge it when you go. But you're going to erase all of those pencil lines that you no longer need. Just take out the last few here. But once you take them out, you can really see it, your drawings, how it's really come together well. So just take those out and you'll have a nice clean drawing to work with. Now for this chair, we're going to do something different. All the other ones I've kind of just used gray for the shadow. This one we're actually going to color in. So we're going to use a dark brown, but you can use any color you want. But I'm going to use a dark brown for mine, and we're actually just going to color in the whole chair. Now, when you're coloring in stuff, and I teach this when I teach my cartooning class, but when you're coloring in objects, we do what we call a flat color. So let's say the chair is brown, we're going to color the whole chair in brown. When we put in the shadow part, we're going to use a darker brown or a blue or even a black if you want, and put in the darker shadows of the chair. And then with this, in this case, because I'm using a computer, I can put in my highlights over top. If you're using a colored pencil or something like that, the areas that you see white in the original picture, then you may want to leave that area white on your coloring. So just kind of go around those areas or go a little lighter in those areas. With a computer, I'm not really doing that. I'm going to put mine in kind of afterwards, but if you're using colored pencil or something like that, you can actually just kind of leave those areas blank or color them really lightly or with a lighter brown so that they look like highlights on the chair. So again, you would just follow where you see it on the chair. But for this one here, we're going to color it in brown all the way. Now, if this was a cloth chair, you wouldn't have highlights at all, probably. Very few. But because this is a leather chair, it really shows a lot of the highlights. So you can see that there's a lot of white marks and stuff on there from the light. So we've got our chair colored in. You can see that it's just all brown right now. So now we're going to get a darker brown and put in some shadow areas. So I always going to start with the darkest panel, which is the one right down here at the side. So you can see I'm using a bit darker brown, and I know that panel is all dark brown, so I'm going to put that in. Just fill that in. Now you're going to have to kind of leave some spots. Don't feel you have to color the whole thing in. One of the tricks to do, if you meet an area that's black next to a black, or in this case a dark brown next to a dark brown, notice how I've left a little white strip of a lighter brown in there. just to show that's two separate panels. So keep that in mind when you're doing shadowing as well. But shadow makes a big difference to anything. It really makes your picture look 3D. So I'm just kind of looking at the picture and I'm just putting in darker areas wherever I see them. You know, I'm leaving some lighter than others. I'm not putting them all over. This is the shadow part, right? The brown was the actual chair. So this is just the shadow part to show us where to put them in. Where the shadows are. And don't worry about being exact. I mean, you know what? It's a drawing. Nobody's going to put your original picture up next to your drawing and say, oh, you missed spot number 22. It doesn't matter. It's not a paint by numbers. Just kind of try to get the feeling of it. Try to think about where the light's coming and where the light would hit certain things and go with that. So you can see how it really gives that third feel, even though I haven't, colored every nook and cranny in. Just by leaving some spots blank and some spots darker shadow, gives that chair that puffy look, and that's what you want with a leather chair or any material chair. Actually, Chesterfield, anything like that would have that kind of puffy look. That doesn't it just make you want to just go and sit in it? Remember, because it's puffy and we've got all these creases, that in between the pillows of the chair are going to be dark and then shadow around them. So you can see how I've kind of outlined some of the pillows a little bit and some of those little marks that we've got there to show creases. So now that we've got our shadows put in, I'm now going to start putting some of the highlights in. So we're going to take the white now. My white is pretty bright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in and I'm going to knock it back. I can do this on a computer. You won't be able to do it with yours, but I'm going to put them back later. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them all in now so you can kind of see where they go. And then I'm going to be able to fix mine on a computer. So you might just want to use a gray or something like that for your highlights. Don't use bright white unless with the computer it seems to be a lot more than it should be. But you can see where I'm just putting the highlights, and that's the reason I've left it white like that. You can see that, oh, I'm putting some here. Look at the picture though and see where the little light marks are, and just kind of try and get the feel of it on your chair. Just one here, one there, nothing too serious. Don't worry if you didn't get them all or if you missed one, that's not the point. Leather's hard because it's so bright and reflective. So now you can see I've got most of the white marks in there. And it's pretty white. It looks kind of like a cow. So we're going to just knock that back a little bit so that they're more of a darker tone on there, not so bright. So I can do this with the computer. You guys can't. So I've just put it into a gray, and you can see it looks a lot better. It's not so startling there. So you can see where they are, and you could have used a blue or whatever, but hopefully that worked out for you, and if not, give it a try again.